Now, as in the mission in Blitzkrieg 2, this French convoy, or this column, gets attacked. I believe they are HE-111s, the medium German twin-engine bomber in the game. Though here, Sturm, of course, by the way, shout out to him. He made these missions, as always, makes fantastic content for the community to enjoy. Alright, howdy folks, welcome back to Gates of Hell. Today we are basically playing an RTS within an RTS. The music, the sound, and the reinforcement system will all resemble that of Blitzkrieg 2. A game that's very close to my heart. I probably put way too many hours into that. A game I actually had on PC way before I had Steam. You know, when people would go to the store and, you know, buy an actual physical disc. You can actually play this yourself if you have Gates of Hell. There's 3 missions so far from the German campaign during the invasion of France. So we've got a lot of early Panzer IIs, Panzer IIIs. This is the first mission, the very first one. There's, like I said, there's a couple more. We'll probably play those along the line. And it really makes me kind of want to play some Blitzkrieg 2 because it does have a very, I think, distinct way of doing things. It is a very, I think, very unique series. Blitzkrieg 1 and its many DLCs, or I guess at the time, those were discs like Burning Horizon. You have to go to the actual physical store, you know, and buy the disc that had the additional content on it, like missions and units and stuff. Oh, that's not a good hit. That hurt. I think they tried hitting my Panzer III and they missed it. But yeah, this makes me really want to play some Blitzkrieg 2. Then obviously, you know, Blitzkrieg 3 came out. That must have been, God, at least 4 or 5 years ago now, and that wasn't, at least for people like myself who were very big Blitzkrieg fans, that wasn't at all what I think a lot of us expected from a follow-up to Blitzkrieg 2. It was like an MMO game, almost. You would basically set up a defense, and then you would, kind of like Metal Gear Solid 5's like base gameplay system, where you set up a defense with AI and mines and stuff like that, and then someone else, an actual human player, would then invade or attack your base and try to, you know, have with limited forces overcome your defenses and eventually get to your HQ building. And I played like 5 hours of that, and that's the most I've ever played of that, because I think that was a really weird direction to take it in. I think they were really trying to monetize the online aspect of it, you know, trying to make people pay for different units, or, you know, kind of like what I guess Men of War Arena tried to do. And then that obviously Men of War Arena, I guess, could be seen as a sort of a weird follow-up to Blitzkrieg 3 in a very ironic way, because, well, like Blitzkrieg 3, I would say Arena failed. Oh, I don't even have to say that. They actually took the servers down, so even the developers themselves probably, I guess, think that Arena as an idea failed. Now, as in the mission in Blitzkrieg 2, this French convoy, or this column, gets attacked. I believe they are HE-111s, the medium German twin-engine bomber in the game. Though here, Sturm, of course, by the way, shout out to him. He made these missions, as always, makes fantastic content for the community to enjoy. It looks like this time he got some BF-110s to do the heavy lifting, but yeah, that's good, because these earlier French tanks, there's always been the discussion about this during, you know, I feel like any sort of historical discussion about World War II, that the French could have had a decent chance against the Germans if they didn't misuse... Oh, this guy gonna get in? Okay, yes. If the French didn't misuse their armor, where the Germans obviously had them in dedicated units, and the French had them as part of their infantry units, so they were more of a supportive role. But even in this, well, obviously these are tanks from the Valor mod, these are pretty hard to knock out. I mean, these early German tanks have short-barreled 50mm guns. I believe we have this slightly longer barrel 47mm gun. Yep, it's a Czech tank, or Czech tank gun, I guess I should say. But, I mean, the Panzer IIs, they're useless against these French tanks. Oh, what is that shooting at me? Why is it flanking me? Rotate, rotate, rotate. So to get them bombed by these BF-110s kind of saves us a huge headache, I think, because without that, I think we'd be in a lot more trouble than I'd like to think. Even in Blitzkrieg 2, during this early campaign where you're fighting the French and some of the British Expeditionary Force in France in 1940, I think a large part of the early tank combat is really kind of finding where the enemy armor is, using airstrikes and such to try to actually knock them out, because the Stukas and the HE-111s, they're effective. The German armor you have at the time, I mean, the best armor you get is a Panzer 4D, and that is, come on, drive. This Panzer is going to get shot in the side and it's going to explode. Come on. All right. And yeah, the best... Wait, we have a tank over? Why do we... Oh, never mind. That was weird. So yeah, the best armor you're going to get is a Panzer 4D, which is just a Panzer 4 with a very short barrel 75mm gun. Horrible armor, horrible accuracy. And you have to rely on heat rounds basically hitting the target. So, you know, we don't even have a Panzer 4D here, so... You know, I guess that's kind of good because that means I kind of have to really like rely on how badly they are. Let's take a look here. We probably want to actually get these... Well, we'll keep the crew or the commander popped out for now. We're going to just reverse. No. Actually, we could take a pot shot across the river here with our Panzerjäger, but I don't know if it's really going to do anything. Well, it seems to have a decent chance of doing something. It's only firing APC-HE, so this isn't even like super effective. But that's what these early war rounds, they're not AP... APDS or APHE like the later German tanks. That's what Panzer 39 grenades are, the regular German anti-tank shells later on. I think they're APHE, so they have a little bit more explosive power once they pen. Okay, we're not even hitting these guys. That's super awkward. I mean, we're shooting at range that aren't even possible in the vanilla Blitzkrieg game. Now, we could call in some reinforcements. The reinforcement system, I like the sound of this one. You're going to hear it in a second. That's just an immediate throwback to Blitzkrieg. But yeah, so the way Blitzkrieg 2 worked is actually really cool. You have different units like infantry, medium armor, light armor, and they come in dedicated sections. And what I always really liked was that you could decide which units to upgrade inside of the the medium or light. You could decide how to upgrade them, when to upgrade them by doing certain missions. And that always made it like basically no two playthroughs were the same. Okay, well this... there are holes so deep in the street, the tanks are almost completely in there. Holy crap. Those must have been some like 1,000 kilogram bombs. Looks like they did a good enough job. I kind of expected to round the corner here and, I don't know, run into a bunch of these tanks. We had like Renault D2s, and they would screw us up if it wasn't. That would have been actually a really hard fight if it wasn't for the airstrike. So it's a good thing that Sturm kept that in from the actual Blitzkrieg 2. Okay, now we are going. There's actually, I mean, I feel like I should mention this. There's a little secret on this part of the map. If you're looking at it from this way, where your spawn is over here, there's actually a little secret over here where if you capture the supply base that's over here, you get the access to paratroopers or Fallschirmjägers earlier on in the campaign. Otherwise, if you don't find that secret, you don't get them, I think, until the next campaign. But they're actually really good because you can airdrop them. They all come with MP40s, I believe, or MP38s. And they're good. But yeah, I think he may have omitted that because as much of a Easter egg, maybe if you want to call it that, even as it is in Blitzkrieg 2, obviously doesn't really matter much here. No, come on, really? These guys must have gotten into the French Champagne. Okay, well, we'll have them repaired to... Is there any other tanks with a 3-man crew? Nope. Okay, well, I guess you guys are now stuck repairing this thing. So yeah, they must have gone to the Champagne supplies from the French a little bit too soon because it just flipped their actual 222. Also, if you're wondering how I got a 222, again, I'm using quite a few mods. I'll link them in the description. It's Valor, it's this mission mod by Sturm, and it's also the Contact mod, I think. Alright, let's just advance. Infantry in Blitzkrieg 2, honestly, really not very good, if I may say so. I feel like people always say, oh yeah, no, it's great. And then I'm like, no, it's not. Infantry is really not that good. I mean, it's good for spotting. That's really what it is. I think maybe even less, maybe more so than it is in Gates of Hell. Infantry in Gates of Hell, I'd say, is actually semi-effective. Obviously, depending on, you know, what they're equipped with. I mean, if they're armed with bolt-action rifles, they're not going to do anything against a tank. But in general, I'd say they're pretty effective. In Blitzkrieg, I feel like infantry is just a glorified meat shield. Oh, there's one of those Laffy armored vehicles, so we will destroy those. And then I think there was a piece of armor. Yes, there is. It's a D2. Oh, that's not good. And we don't have... Oh, we're going to be screwed here. Infantry, get down. Detract it. Where's my Panzerjäger? Because that probably has the best penetration value. Considering, I know it's a 47 mil versus a 50 mil, but it does have a longer barrel, so it should probably penetrate this D2 better. Well, you know, if we ever manage to find a weak spot on these suckers. Like, again, these things, it's a good thing there's no B1 Vistas in this mission. Basically like the French Behemoth tank. Although, I guess the real Behemoth is the... I forgot the name. Is it the FCM? Like, it's basically just a huge tank that really reminds me almost of like a thing you'd see in Iron Harvest. Like, it's basically a steampunk tank machine. All right, let's flank. This D2 is getting spammed. There's no way the crew inside is alive still. They're getting like knocked around by 20 millimeter impacts. Was that 50 millimeter impacts? 47 millimeter impacts. We'll drive our little Panzer, sort of 38 or 35? It's 35. I never really can see the difference between a 38 and a 35. I don't know if that's bad or not. I guess now I look at it, I can probably see it in the future, but then I'll forget about it again. This is what I was afraid of. This is what in Blitzkrieg 2, why you have Stukas and heavy aircraft, at least for the French campaign. Because look at this thing. It's just like we have to literally drive up to it probably and deploy like a mine next. Okay, we just killed it. We just killed it. Took a very long time, but a lot of firepower. Okay, good thing is that we actually have one crew member that we lost, so we can put him in there, and then we stole one of their tanks. Again, I don't think that's possible in Blitzkrieg 2, but obviously, you know, Gates of Hell has some, This would be really nice if we could call in those BF-110s again, am I right? Get off the road here, bud. There's a D2. There's a lot of tanks here. Oh, this is not good. Accuracy-wise, we all suck apparently, which is good for us. Fire again. Okay, well, we're not doing anything with that 37 mil. Let's get another one of these Panzer IIIs and repair. Oh, thought that was a bomber coming in for a second. This is the Shadow. There's a tank right here. We know that. Okay, we knocked that out. That's good. That's good. Now let's reverse and see if we can shoot this D2 in the butt. I think we knocked it out. I don't know how effective this 50 mil is. One thing that's nice to see here, because we're playing Gates of Hell and we're not playing Blitzkrieg 2, is there are no health bars. I guess Blitzkrieg 2 has a weird health bar system. Technically, every tank gun has a damage system. Like, let's say the Panzer III gun does 50 damage and 50 pen. If it has more pen than the armor it's shooting at, I think it does full damage. So if it has more pen than this D2 and it has less health than the D2, it'll basically insta-kill it. But there is a health system technically in Blitzkrieg. But I had never really thought about it that way, because there's lots of times when, for example, a Tiger comes across a T-34 or an IS comes across a Panzer IV, and it just overmatches it in armor and in penetration, or in damage and in penetration, that most of the time they're just one-shot kills, kind of like what you see when you're playing Gates of Hell. It really only happens when you're having like Panzer IIIs and early model T-34s fight, probably, or I guess in this campaign, as you know, if you're playing the Blitzkrieg vanilla game, obviously there's moments where the German early war panzers and the French panzers or French tanks, there's definitely some moments where it's like, okay, they're just staring at each other and they're shooting each other, and it's going to really come down to who gets a lucky hit first. I guess we're going to have to use our infantry here. Are these the ones with the double machine gun? No, they're not. I love those. What are those Panzer III's I'm thinking of? I know there's a Panzer III that has the twin, I think it's a twin coaxial machine gun, which is super badass. Alright, let's roll up. Let's get our officer to drop. Actually, yeah, let's have him drop the stupid binoculars. You're not going to use those, dumbass. just wasting his time looking at them. Alright. Let's clear this out. Ready on the bridge. Oh, there's a guy there. There's a guy there. Shoot him! Okay, got the towns cleared. There's across the river. Clear this one out. Why don't we send our... I forgot our 222 flipped over. Why don't we send one of our capture tanks that way? Just to see if there's anything there. Maybe he put something there just to the people like me who, I guess have played Blitzkrieg 2 a lot. But I'm not holding my breath, and I don't expect him to have really put anything there, but it'd be funny if he did. Okay, let's get our guys on the flank of the river here. We are engaging these very typical Blitzkrieg-esque defensive lines where there's anti-tank guns, and I kind of probably should have put this guy slightly... Okay, our turret might be down. Oh, this is the twin. No, it is not. On the picture, it has the twin... On the bottom left picture, it does have the twin machine guns on this one. But it doesn't. So I'm super confused. You can see right here what I mean. This is the picture I'm referring to. Okay, well, our guys here are probably not... Oh, actually, what are we hiding behind? Oh, it's like a little guard shack. It's giving us a little bit of... a tiny bit of spaced armor. Okay, our Renault is having a very hard time. What are you doing? Is this guy going to drive? He's super slow. Okay, let's see if we can get eyes on the situation here. We lost one of our tank commanders. I don't think we have medics with us. I don't think medics aren't a thing in Blitzkrieg. These units also are a little different, obviously, in Blitzkrieg. Can we see this stupid AT gun? Oh, reload HE. Oh, did we knock it out? I think we knocked out the crew, actually. Let's just screw it. Let's push it. Yeah, in Blitzkrieg, these squads are not... You can't select a single guy and go off of that. You select a whole team, a whole squad. And the squad comes with pre-designated weapons like an MG and etc, etc. And when units die in these teams, I think other units take up their weapons. They also don't have... Well, sometimes they have dedicated AT, but most of the time they just have anti-tank grenades that they can only throw when you're really, really close to the enemy tank in question. Let's get you off the ridge here. Let's reload. You know what? Why don't we put our tank commander... I do like this a lot, actually. We can put our tank commander inside so he's not as susceptible to enemy fire. And, ooh, this D2 is really holding the line. We have to cross the river with our Panzer III here. Hopefully... I'm going to suppress its turret there. Okay, I think we got to cross. Now we just have to knock this guy out. Okay, we suck at knocking him out. Come on, come on. Okay, he's down. Now it's our time, I think, to rush across the river with our infantry. Okay, here we go. We're charging. Oh, some of us are swimming across. Don't know if that's the most effective way of this, but we'll take it. And then we've captured the... Oh, some grenades there. There we go. And the flag changed. Nice little touch there. Can't really show out too much because of the icon on there. And that's it. These missions are more for people who I guess have played Blitzkrieg 2. They're not so much to challenge you or anything, but it's cool to see stuff like this, or a bombardment on the convoy or the column like it is in Blitzkrieg 2, in the map and the general atmosphere of this. I mean, I've played these missions hundreds of, well, maybe not hundreds of times, but I've played these missions at least 10 times, especially the early ones from all the campaigns in Blitzkrieg, and it's really cool to see Sturm remake these. Again, shout out to him, link his channel in the description, as well as the mod, and I'll catch you in the next one.